Thank you so much for coming on the Thrival Nutrition Podcast. How are you doing?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's so weird. We're in Austin, but we're just talking over technology, which is awesome. Go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Anushri Gupta, but I go by Anu, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. My practice is called Hope Heals Therapy. It's located in Northwest Austin. And I mostly work with people who are coping with stress, anxiety, and depression. I people pleasing and relationship issues. Um,
Which is like everyone in the world.
I guess so.
Yeah. There's always like a relationship or something going on that people
Right.
Um,
Right.
I know today we're going to be talking about that people-pleasing personality. So in short, can you explain what it is? Obviously, it sounds like it is what it is, but anything deeper, maybe a actual definition of it?
Well, I always say that like people pleasers are the nicest people and they're really very helpful. They will never say no. You can always count on them. They're going to always show up. They do their own work. They never ask for help, but they'll help everybody else. So the thing is that they prioritize other people over themselves. Um, they show a lot of codependent behavior, which means that they take care of other people so much so that they lose a sense of their needs and themselves. They have a hard time setting boundaries. They're conflict avoidant, and their self-esteem is based on external approval, and their identity is based on how much they do for other people.
I find that too in this world of social media, especially I think it was number 3 that you said about how we rely on external factors and who we are and stuff. I see that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think social media is for other people more than for us. We are putting our things out there so that people look at it and appreciate it and give us that approval that, oh yeah, that picture is great. You look awesome in it, and that makes us feel more confident about it as opposed to us feeling that for ourselves.
Yes. And I like before we started recording, you told me a little bit about like your background. I would love for you to share that because I didn't really ever think about it that way, especially in your culture being from India. But I think here too, I see it. So please share.
Yeah, sure. So like I'm originally from India. I moved to Austin about like uh, 10 years ago. It's been 14 years for me over here. Um, so um, so culturally we are raised to be codependent. We are raised to be people pleasers. That's a trait that's really encouraged in our culture. If you um, um, take care of other people and sacrifice your own needs, that's always validated and encouraged, and you're considered to be a nice person. But if you were to set boundaries and if you were to express your needs, then you're not even accepted in the community. So no one wants to be ostracized. So then we end up kind of sacrificing our own needs and putting others ahead of us. And that's how like my journey started with people pleasing. It's when you're in it, you don't even realize what you're doing because everyone around you is doing the same thing. But when you come out of it and then you kind of check in, that's when you connect with yourself and kind of check in, okay, what's going on? I'm doing so much, but I'm really not feeling the feelings that I think I should be feeling. So that's when you kind of dig deep and try to figure out what is it that's missing.
Okay. And is there something, this is like the science nerd in me, is there something like biochemically different with people that have that personality?
Well, not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like people pleasers are, they don't, like we are not born as people pleasers. That's something we learn very early in life. That's something kids.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's also a lot about attachment and connection. That's something kids use to connect with their caregivers. So usually, um, a parent, a kid who turns into a people pleaser, his or her parent is either physically or emotionally not present. They could be preoccupied with their own worries and concerns that makes them snap a lot, criticize their kids a lot, compare the kids to other kids around them, or like the kid feels like he or she's never enough. Like, the parents are extremely unpredictable, inconsistent, but these kids do have very good times with their parents also. So that confuses them even more. So they're like, okay, my parents are awesome at times. What makes them so good? What can I change in my life or about me in order to make sure that my parents are always nice to me? So that's when the people pleasing journey begins, when they start focusing on, what does my mom want me to do? What does my dad want me to do? And let me do that to them so that they're nice to me and they show love and care towards me, as opposed to what do I really want for myself.
It's so true. My son, now that you mentioned it, I think I can see that. Like, I only laugh because like, now I feel bad.
Well, like as parents, we do our best, right? Like it is pretty complicated. Life is not easy. So I think what's really important, at least I've learned that from my own parenting experience, like I have a 6-year-old daughter. I think the repair part is really important, to where we might snap and then we go back and we apologize and we say, I'm so sorry for snapping at you. I really didn't mean to. It wasn't you who was making me angry. There was something going on that made me angry, and I promise I'll never do that again. So I think the repair part is extremely important.
Yeah. And I think that also shows just giving yourself a little grace, and then it teaches them when they're older and they're interacting and they snap at someone, they know what to do. And so I always say, like, I feel like actions always speak so much louder than words when you're trying to like parent.
Yeah. And it's really important to keep communicating to them that, I love you. Like if I'm disciplining my daughter and she feels like maybe I'm angry at her and I'm not letting her do something, and she has to always listen to me. So then I usually go back and say, you know what, I'm your mom. It's my responsibility to teach you this. If I don't teach you, then I'm not doing what I should do as a mom. And I always love you. Doesn't matter whether you listen to me or not, I will always love you. But this is just something that I need to teach you.
Yeah, definitely. I know you kind of talked about it when in the first question when I asked what was the personality and being people pleaser. So what are the benefits of it? I feel like you mentioned, they're the nicest people, they're always there for you.
Yeah.
You feel like are benefits of having this?
Yeah, certainly. I think people pleasers are extremely in tuned with what other people want. Their needs, their feelings. They can walk into a room and kind of measure the temperature of the room. They understand like what's going on, like if the stress level is high or not. Like they can maneuver their behavior and expectations according to nonverbal cues a lot. And I think
that's me. Yeah, I have the gift of discernment. So like I can read people ridiculously easy. And I honestly don't even think that I'm that much of a people pleaser, because I'm pretty stubborn too. So it's kind of like in certain the situations, I'm like, I don't care if that pleases you, it pleases me. That's my selfishness in me. But, I can definitely like discern like just how people are, and I adapt.
Right, exactly. So, and that skill has been learned very early in life, so they have mastered it really well. So now it comes very naturally.
And then I guess here comes the negatives. What are some, I wouldn't say negative, but things that people struggle with because they have this people-pleasing personality?
So, like there are lots of things. So like when somebody comes to me, not so many people have come in my session saying that, well, I think I'm a people pleaser. Most of them come in with anxiety or depression, feeling overwhelmed, not being able. So like as we dig deep, we figure out that they might have low self-esteem, and they also have overwhelming amounts of guilt and shame. And then they have difficulty setting boundaries or just expressing their needs or expressing themselves in general. They have most of the people pleasing characteristics are driven by fear of failure or fear of rejection. Yeah, so I think these are some of the things that I can kind of think of off the top of my head.
And I'm sure you get people that like want to break out of it. Maybe there are people that like love being that way and I don't know, they want to stay that way. But I even like, I was like, I wish there was a book that I could learn how not to give a F. Because I feel like there's so much more freedom out there
Right.
when you take that burden off your shoulders of
Right.
pleasing everyone.
Right.
So what are some of your tips that could help people kind of break out of that?
Right. So, like firstly, a lot of people who come in, they also kind of know something's not right. Something around them is not making them feel right, but they really don't know what it is. And because they've been like that for so long, and then they don't even know what do they want. If not this, then what? Because they've never connected to themselves or to their needs. Because connecting yourself to yourself would mean that now you have to listen to yourself. Now you're very aware of what you want, and it becomes difficult to listen to other people. So the first step that I start with is to connect to yourself. So there are different ways in which we do it in our sessions, but like what some of your viewers can start with is journaling. So when we journal, a lot of the times we journal about how our day was or how things went in the day. Along with that, or instead of that, they could also write about an experience, write about their thoughts and feelings about the experience. What did they do? What did they want to do? And if they did what they wanted to do, would it be any different? Would they feel any different? So they can start with journaling. And then another thing is, people please don't take care of themselves. So like start also, self-care is important. So make a list of 10 things that you've always enjoyed doing, and do one from that list every single day. The other thing is, there's a huge pressure that we feel when a request is presented to us. We feel like we have to immediately say yes. Mm-hmm. So release yourself off of the pressure and buy time. So instead of saying yes or no immediately, say, okay, I'm going to get back to you. Or let me check my schedule. I can't remember my schedule. Let me just check it and then I'll get back to you. The other thing is, how do you say no? It's no is such a small word, but such a harsh word. So the moment
it's so funny too, because even like as a business perspective and a business owner, when I, am talking to people of if they want to work with me or not wanting to work with me as a nutritionist, people like avoid your calls and they're like, they don't get back to you. And I'm like, yeah. For real, I am not hurt if you don't want to work with me.
Right.
We may not have clicked. That's totally fine.
Right.
But like, I'd rather like, I'm always saying to like my coworkers, I'm like, I wish they would say, no, thank you. So I can stop calling you and texting you because I want to take care of you. But I think that, so I wish more people said no, just from a different standpoint. I wish more people.
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's really difficult to say no because from my experience, what I've kind of felt is if someone asks me a question and I say, no, that's all, that's it. They don't listen after that. They don't want to listen after the no. Like our system shuts down after no. So
what a rude.
So instead of saying no, what we can actually say, so just an example. So then suppose your friend wants you to come over to her house over the weekend and help her unpack. And you might not want to do it. You're tired, you're exhausted, you have your own life and you want your weekend, you might not want to do it, but then you feel obligated. Because that's when the fear of rejection sets in and it says, well, if you say no, that's a good friend, she might not want to be your friend, so you better go there and help her. Doesn't matter how you feel about it, because you're not giving her something, and why will she want you then? So instead of allowing that thought to take over you, you can first buy time. Say, okay, let me get back to you. And then get back to them and say, thank you so much for thinking of me. you know what, but it turns out that there is a conflict over this weekend with my schedule and I won't be able to show up for this. But thanks a lot for thinking of me. I'm glad to know that you consider me such a good friend. And then leave it at that. Don't apologize. Don't give 10 million explanations as to why, what is the conflict. Just leave it at that.
Yeah. I love that. Because I know there's a lot of people that want to say yes, and we've even found ourselves, we're better now at like saying no, or just like realizing like if we're tired, we need to just listen to our body and stop. But you
Right.
know, being parents, I'm sure you're getting like birthday party invites after birthday party invites after another birthday party invite. And at some point, sometimes you just feel so overwhelmed, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part of me that kind of feels bad because it's also like, it's not about me, it's about my kids and if they want to go. But sometimes you just have to listen to yourself. And self-care, which I wrote down because I think that's a great thing. When people ask what self-care is, they say, I always say, do what you enjoy. But some people just kind of, I feel like, even lose that. Like they don't even know what they enjoy anymore because
Exactly.
they haven't done it in such a long time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Sometimes, yeah, I get people scratching their head. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, I could literally be just hanging out in bed watching Netflix.
Exactly. Or, just like drinking a hot cup of tea or like just daydreaming,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We're a busy society. And even I
Yeah.
struggle with like just being go, 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 go. And thousands of other people are the same way. But I feel like to keep your sanity, you have to do that. Let me see if I have any more questions, what I wrote down. Did you have any journaling like tidbits of maybe like one of your favorite journals that you find online, or just maybe what you can buy in the store?
I I I don't know. I believe in being authentic. So instead, like someone can create their own structure. So what I usually recommend is to kind of start with um, a gratitude journal. So things that you're grateful for. So start with 3 things every morning that you're grateful for. And then another thing that I give as a homework to my clients a lot is just to maintain an emotion journal. So like that will make you aware of what your body is communicating to you and what are you feeling. So emotion journal is very simple. It's just one word, one emotion word. So like it could be a positive emotion, negative emotion, whatever it is, whatever you're feeling throughout the day, just have a small little notebook, take it out and write happy, excited, mad, relieved or scared, whatever it is, and do that for as long as you can. Maybe the intensity or the number of times you do it in a day will reduce because you will get so in tune with your feelings that you might not want to have to remember to write it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was thinking of like starting, because I've been hearing that a lot of journaling. I hear it like, I feel like I hear about it every day, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just someone saying like, you just need to do it. And so I'm thinking on maybe Googling and figuring out maybe a good website aside from out of business, like a totally private thing where I can just like type in journal and put all the thoughts out there. Is there anything else that you kind of wanted to educate us about with people-pleasing personalities that we didn't cover?
Yeah, like there's certain things that I feel like someone can be very mindful of in order to see if their self-talk is that or not. Because like a person who has people-pleasing tendencies or personalities tends to be very mean to themselves. Their self-talk usually consists of was like, I should, I must, I should have known better. So they're very absolute. There's no they don't give themselves any out, and they blame themselves a lot. So if something goes wrong, then it's like, what could I have done different? Like it's, yeah, you want to learn from your experience, but you also want to be kind and compassionate to yourself and understand things happen. There can be mistakes, and usually mistakes they try to kind of take control of everything just because the guilt and the shame is so overwhelming. Another thing is the two other points, the first is like passive aggressiveness and resentments. That's something that I've seen among people who hold in a lot. So because they're conflict avoidant, they don't tell somebody if they're not happy or they don't like something. They hold it in, and that becomes resentment, and it keeps growing. And then, but it's hard.
One day, right?
Right. Yeah. And then they become resentful, and then they have passive aggressive ways of showing that. Sometimes it builds up so much that they blow up. And then the blow up is followed by a lot of shame and guilt and anxiety about, now this person will not like me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a terrible cycle to be in.
Right, right. And the other thing is that because people pleasers are basically givers, they give a lot, they take care of other people, they don't want anything in return except for just accept me, just validate me. So there are lots of people out there who are takers, so who take advantage of this trait, and they're very egocentric, so they will just give them as much as they need to keep them hooked, and then keep taking from them, and that can get very exhausting, and they can feel taken advantage of.
Wow. Yeah, that is peeling layers back. It always starts off with just not feeling good, and then you can get pretty deep, I can tell.
Yeah.
Which I love. I appreciate you so much for coming on. Where can we find you?
You can go through my website, which is called Hope Heals Therapy. And you can email me through that, or you can give me a call. My phone number is also on my website. And I can give you my phone number right now. It's 512-887-8033. And I'm also listed on Psychology Today. You can find me through that.
Are you on Instagram and Facebook? And
yeah, I'm on Instagram. So on Instagram, again, my account is called Hope Heals Therapy.
Cool. And do you just see people local to Austin, or do you see people everywhere?
And so it's because I'm licensed in Texas, so whoever I see it has to be in Texas.
In Texas, but it doesn't have to be Austin. It could just be in Texas.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love talking about it, so I can keep on going.
I love it.
And I'm so excited to have this opportunity. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.